Right now, something is happening that could fundamentally change the food you buy and how much you pay for it. I'm not talking about a small glitch in the system, no. I'm talking about a full-blown economic crisis that the United States, well, it looks like we accidentally started ourselves. And your grocery bill, it's caught right in the middle of this massive food fight.
So, how did we get here? How did a trade dispute with, of all places, Canada, our closest ally, our biggest trading partner, completely paralyze America's food supply? It's a story about a high-stakes political gamble that seems to have backfired in the most spectacular way imaginable.
You know, the numbers here are just staggering. We're talking about $22 billion. That's billion with a B. That was the value of the agricultural trade that flowed like a massive river across our northern border every single year. And now, that river has just hit a concrete wall. It's just stopped.
So let's break down how this happened. I mean, how did decades of friendship and cooperation just evaporate overnight? It all started with a really high-stakes political move, using a tool that's normally reserved for rogue nations, but this time it was aimed squarely at our friends next door. The tool they used is called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, and basically it's a really powerful law. But to use it, you need a national emergency. And the justification used here, it was extraordinary. The administration declared that things like trade deficits and drug trafficking constituted a national emergency. That declaration gave the White House the power to act fast and to act alone.
And the result of that declaration? Boom. Immediate punishing tariffs of 25 to 35% were just slapped on almost all Canadian agriculture coming into the U.S. The message being sent to Canada was pretty clear. Do what we want or face the economic consequences. But what happened next? I don't think anyone in Washington saw this coming.
Yeah, instead of caving, Canada did something absolutely unthinkable. They didn't just push back, they pivoted. In a move that is literally redrawing the map of global food trade as we speak, Canada turned its back on the US and looked east, straight to our biggest global competitor, China.
I mean, just look at the choice Canada had. On one hand, you've got the United States, offering tariffs, legal chaos, and total uncertainty. But on the other hand, China comes to the table with cash, guaranteed long-term deals, and a very, very simple offer. We'll buy everything, all of it. And China's offer wasn't just good, it was incredibly aggressive. Just look at these numbers. They took their own tariff on Canadian canola from a crippling 85% all the way down to 15%. 100% tariffs on things like lobster, crab, peas. Gone. Wiped out. The deal was basically a complete rerouting of Canada's supply chain away from us and across the Pacific to the...
But really, this one quote says it all. Standing in Beijing, the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, said that China had become a more predictable partner than the United States. Just let that sink in for a second. Our closest neighbor, our friend, just said that a geopolitical rival is now more reliable than we are. That is a fundamental rupture on a relationship that's been stable for generations.
Okay, let me put this another way. Imagine you've got a favorite local bakery. You've been their best customer for decades. Then one day you storm in there, you threaten the baker, you demand massive discounts. So what does the baker do? Well, they find a new customer, one who's reliable, signs a long-term contract. And when you finally decide to go back, maybe because you're hungry, you find the shelves are empty for you. The baker has moved on. That's pretty much what just happened to the entire North American food supply.
So this isn't just some abstract geopolitical chess match happening on the other side of the world. No, the fallout is hitting right here, at home. The consequences are being felt right now in American towns, on our farms, and yeah, every time you walk into a grocery store.
Almost immediately, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a 12% jump in prices for anything made with grain. We're talking bread, pasta, cereal, the staples, the things most families rely on. All of it costing more basically overnight. And for the people actually on the ground, the farmers and business owners, it is a complete disaster. Take Jennifer Patterson, a third-generation farmer up in North Dakota. Her family has worked with Canadian grain suppliers for 40 years. 40 years! She said her costs jumped 30% just like that, and her words, they're just haunting. She said, "We're watching decades of cross-border cooperation just evaporate." And the supply chain itself? It's been hit catastrophically. The number of trucks carrying grain and other food across the border has just collapsed. It's down by as much as 60%. And you have to remember, many of these are small, family-owned trucking companies. They can't just find new customers overnight. When that freight disappears, they go under.
And this pain, it's just rippling out through the whole economy. It's not just farmers and truckers. It's family-owned grain mills seeing their costs spike 28%. It's food processing plants now scrambling to find new suppliers from as far away as Australia. Even major port facilities are sitting half empty. The entire machine is just grinding to a halt.
So at the end of the day, who pays the final bill for all of this? Well, you do. For a typical American family of 4, these price hikes alone are estimated to add up to about $960 in extra food costs over the next year. That's nearly $1,000. That is the direct cost of this trade gambit, paid for out of your pocket. But look, this isn't just about paying more for groceries this year. The real danger here, the thing that has experts seriously worried, is that these changes, they might become permanent. So we have to talk about the long-term stakes, not just for our economy, but for something even more fundamental, our food security.
And the warnings we're hearing from experts are stark. Dr. Maria Stephan from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, she calls this a self-inflicted wound that will take a generation to heal. A generation. She argues that the United States is essentially just giving away one of its greatest strategic advantages, a stable, secure, integrated food supply with its closest ally.
And the clock is absolutely ticking on this. You see, farmers are making their planting decisions for next season right now. And if China is offering a guaranteed price, what do you think they're going to plant? As the whole logistics network, the ships, the trains, the trucks, starts reorienting toward Asia, experts warn that we have a window of maybe 18 months before these changes become irreversible, permanent. So when you step back and look at the strategic scoreboard here, the outcome is pretty stark. The United States gets higher prices at home and a broken supply chain. And China? Well, China gets enhanced food security for its people, and it pulls a key American ally that much closer into its own orbit.
Which brings us to one last, really critical question. The stated goal of all this was to protect American interests. But in the process, did we just trade away our own food security? Did we accidentally hand a massive strategic win to our biggest competitor? This story is unfolding right now, and the answer to that question is going to determine what's on our grocery store shelves and what it costs for a long, long time.